And we are live. Thank you everyone for joining me as I speak with Shannon Fable all about certifications and how it's very important, we all know, to get a primary certification as a personal trainer or a group fitness instructor or even a fitness manager. Having that primary certification, and then what are the next steps to maintaining that certification, and how we can kind of navigate between what certifications there are out there and what we can do to continue our education in a smart and effective way. But before we begin, I want to speak about Shannon Fable. I am so incredibly grateful for her time today because I know she is a very busy woman. And she is, to introduce her a little bit more, is the IDEA and ACE Instructor of the Year. She has spent more than 2 decades helping brands like Anytime Fitness, Schwinn Power Systems, American Council on Exercise, Silver Sneakers, Fit for Mom, and Bosu. And I'm sure there's more than that too. And then she owns Sunshine Fitness Resources, which is a consultation business for fitness entrepreneurs. And she presents, where I've met her the most and seen her the most, is at IDEA, the World Fitness Convention, IDEA Personal Training Institute, SCW, DCAC, URSA, Club Industry. And last but not least, I would not be able to live without the software she created called Group X Pro, which is something potentially I'll ask her to come back again and chat about communication, because it, as a fitness manager, has saved my life so many times, especially during this crazy time we're going through. Yeah. But Shannon and I are here to talk about certifications today. So my first question, Shannon, really is why it's so important to get that primary certification as a trainer and group fitness instructor, and then potentially identifying what NCCA accredited means.
Yes. And first of all, thank you so much for having me. This is going to be a fun conversation. It's one of my most favorite topics to talk about because there is so much fitness folklore around it. And I think it's really important to separate fact from fiction to help elevate our industry. So let's start with I always have to go back to the beginning, and I know we don't have like all day, so I'm going to try to be as succinct as possible. Email me your questions. What is the purpose of certification? Because this is the thing that most people don't understand. And I can't answer why it's important until we can all level the playing field with what part it plays and what its actual role is in an industry. And this is not just fitness specific. This is anywhere. A certification, a primary certification in an industry that requires certification, whether that is federally or state or whatever, all it serves to do is prove that you are minimally competent at performing the roles of a job as identified and articulated by people inside the space. So I'm going to repeat that, less words. All a certification does is ticks the box that you are minimally competent to do the job of group fitness instructor, minimally competent to do the job of personal trainer. And where that gets a little bit more complicated for group fitness instructors as compared to personal trainers, and why maybe group fitness instructors don't quite see the need to invest in it or maintain it, is because minimal competency in group fitness is such a large breadth of work that we then need to get specialized. Now, personal trainers get it because they have to start whittling down or narrowing down what their niche is or who their target market is or what kind of people they're going to train or what products they're going to use. They understand the specification, but there still is a general understanding of what a personal trainer is. Group fitness doesn't work. Like if I get a group fitness certification, what can I teach? Don't know. Really, because it's just covering the basics of cardio and strength, right? So let's just make sure we understand that that's all it does. And then after that, you do have to either go get mentored or you have to learn from someone informally or formally how to teach different formats. If you work at a club like yours, I'm sure you have format guidelines and you teach them how to teach the specific formats like they do at Equinox or at Lifetime, or you might go get a TRX qualification or a Les Mills qualification, but those are not certifications. Those are specialty certifications. No matter what they call them, they are specialty certifications that in the eyes of, we'll come back to NCCA, like they should sit on top of the base. So that's the first thing. We have to make sure we understand it. And so you've got, certification, education, continuing education. A specialty certificate is just a version of continuing education once you've proven you're minimally competent at the job. One reason it's important. It shows your professionalism. And I know we don't have time to go into it, but we are forever talking about how we are not supported financially as group fitness professionals or even personal trainers. We don't make enough money. We're not taken seriously because I mean, I won't even get into it, but in Bureau of Labor I'm going to get the acronym wrong, but in the eyes of the government, like our job classification code isn't even in health and wellness. We are in the same job classification code as chauffeurs, dog groomers, nail technicians. So anyway, we're always complaining about how we're not taken seriously, but then we all get into a debate about whether or not we should get certified and if it's worth it and which one is better than the other one. And then do I need any additional education or chicken and egg? Just tick the damn box. Like, tick the damn box. It's not that hard to do. And now there are lots of different types of certifications. And, there are a lot of people that want to be group fitness instructors because we are born out of our love for fitness. I don't know about you, but I know I had a tape in my bag after I started taking step class. I just knew I could teach the class. I wanted someone to identify me and point at me and say, get up on stage. We're calling your number. I was a prosumer. I was a professional consumer of fitness. And that led me to become certified. And then I became a fitness professional. And there are definitely very different levels there, right? But getting certification is the first step. But because there are so many people that charge down that path in different levels of engagement, it's a big money-making industry. Right? Certification is a big money-making industry. So the first thing you need to understand is not all certifications are created equal. And I don't debate, the debate has always been, well, this one has a practical, this doesn't have a practical. Or like we said before, we debate, well, what does it really teach me to do? That one doesn't mean anything because it doesn't teach me anything. First of all, forget that. They're just proving that you can be a group fitness instructor or personal trainer. But there was so much conversation around it. Gosh, it's been 10 or 11 years now. So much confusion, both from consumers and from the industry, that IHRSA actually raised its hand and said, we've got to do something to kind of suss out the good, the bad, the indifferent. And this is where the NCCA conversation comes in. So NCCA accreditation, NCCA is an outside organization. It's outside the fitness industry. And it looks at other industry certification to give them their good housekeeping seal of approval, for lack of a better term, 21-point credentialing system that looks into how is the role delineation study done? And that's what are the job responsibilities of a group fitness person? Is that validated? Is it valid? Is it real? Is it relevant? And then it goes through, how do you assemble your people to create your test? How do they create the test questions? Does everyone have the same, we talk about equity and justice, does everyone have the same opportunity to pass the test, whether they buy that organization's information or if they go search on the web and buy, study material somewhere else? Is it an equal opportunity certification? So I started learning this through my work with ACE because I sat on some of those role delineation study committees, the test writing committees, and I was blown away at what went into creating this test that was testing your knowledge of the job role, not your ability to take a test or not. So it's this whole outside objective third party that oversees, that watches the business of creating the test, administering the test, and then how you keep your credential over time. And what IHRSA did was they're like, yes, NCCA, that's going to be our thing. And they made the recommendation that to be credible in this industry, you should hold an NCCA accredited certification. So you can go to the NCCA website, and there are all kinds of resources where you can go and see if your certification is NCCA certified. ACE was the first one to have all of their different certifications NCAA certified. There are lots more, but sometimes with AFA in particular, right, it's NCCA accredited now. It wasn't before. So if you didn't reset for the test, you still got a great certification, don't get me wrong, but it's not NCCA accredited. So that's some of the, I don't know. I just spoke for 20 minutes. Was that enough?
No, that was great. That was so great. No, because that's what's so great, as I have to say, you guys, that when I'm at Shannon's sessions, she's so knowledgeable and knows how to categorize things so well to help you digest what you're taking in, and that she's speaking the truth for all of us. And that I love just hearing the simplicity of it. It's really like you said, boiling down to the fact that they're testing you to make sure you can keep people alive
That's it. Minimally competent. And then, let me make it, because you just said I make things really clear, and I felt like I didn't make that clear at all. I just made it about as muddy as anything. How do you choose I guess what I'm saying is there's not really, the debate isn't, is this certification better than another? It's the employer that you want to be hired by. What do they expect?
Yeah.
And even more important, how does that certifying body support you as a fitness professional? Is their goal to make you more successful as a professional? Do they have are they mission driven? Are they for profit? Are they nonprofit? And different certifications are going to speak to different people. I personally am tried and true ACE for 20 some odd years because I believe in the fact that they're a nonprofit. They operate like a for-profit to fund. They don't go out and get grants and fundraise and do all this stuff. So they do have a money-making machine, right, to keep the certification going, but with a mission to get people moving, because the whole goal is like the fitness professional is the conduit to what their actual mission is, which is I want everyone to have access to be able to move and to be fit and be well. And that's what this conversation has been about during COVID, right? Is how we need to get to more people. And we're starting to find out. So I think when you're going to decide, one, it shouldn't be based on money. This is an investment in your future and you get what you pay for. Two, what kind of study materials, what kind of help do they have for you? And then how are they going to support you long term? But I hate when, especially in group fitness, when we start fighting about the merits of especially in group fitness, like every group fitness certification is essentially the same. It's not like there's, AFA has a different way of teaching you how to teach versus they are proving you're mentally competent for the job. Now that's a little different in PT, right? NASM has their own methodology around training. ACE has, there's OPT model, there's the IFT model. There, you get NSCA if you want to do strength and conditioning. So there's a little more diversity or selection criteria, I should say, about what you do for personal training. But when it comes to group fitness, it truly is about NCCA. Yeah. Do you align with their mission and their vision, and do you feel supported by them as, and it's just the beginning. It's literally just the beginning. And I don't want to hear the argument, well, because I get that a lot of clubs are not mandating it anymore. And if you only hear one thing that I say in the next 2 hours that we're going to be talking, it is not because people don't believe certification is important. There is an HR ramification for requiring it or making you maintain it. Right? There's a financial issue with them requiring it and making it. And that is the dirt. I mean, I shouldn't say it's the dirty secret. It's not a dirty secret, but it's the thing that never gets bubbled up to the surface for fitness professionals to truly understand. And we just write it off and say, well, gosh, I work for such and such club and they don't even care. Why should I care? And I totally understand why you feel that way. But the minute that they say it's required, or that you have to maintain it, then they theoretically are financially on the hook, or could be financially on the hook for that investment. So, and I get why that's hard for them to maintain, because we aren't, I mean, you have a lot of instructors that teach just for you because you give them lots of opportunities. You're a big club, but there are a lot of little tiny clubs that, right? Why should they have to pay for my certification when I teach at 5 different clubs, right? That's a whole nother debate. But I hear that a lot with group fitness instructors. Like, why should I get a primary? Because nobody cares. Well, you should care, because I want to be taken seriously at some point. And right now we're known by our least common denominator. So the end. Is it cocktail hour now?
Exactly. No, that's great. We're close. We're getting closer. One question closer. I will say, and true. So really, it's as simple as that, like researching what NCCA certifications are out there, jumping on and finding what works best for you, and then rolling with it. And then with that comes, as you were mentioning, like Zumba, TRX, specialty training. So understanding the difference between that NCCA certification and then the trainings. And then I know we've talked about, you call them fitrepreneurs or
prosumers?
Prosumers. So prosumers who are consumers of certifications, who are, shopping around. They see that weekend certification and they're like, jump on it immediately, which I'd love to ask you just how you, because the classification of obviously the NCCA certification and then the trainings, but which trainings, again, it needs to be about what serves them, but which trainings are going to make the most sense for an instructor who's moving on to that path of a specialty, and being wise about it, because it's expensive. It adds up.
It's super expensive. And again, loaded question. I mean, I could speak forever on the personal training side versus group fitness. I'm going to focus a little bit more on group fitness because I actually feel like in personal training, there's a clearer understanding and a clearer path to what's next when it comes to education. You get interested in pre-postnatal and you go down that track, or you get interested in prehab or rehab and you go down that track, or nutrition or behavior change or whatever. But on the group fitness side, it truly does become this like, I don't know. They either see the thing that's cheap and it ticks the box for getting CEC, so they get it, or it's the thing that's popular that they've been taking that class, so it makes sense to get certified in it so they can teach it instead of just take it. Or I don't really know the rationale. I do think it follows a lot of the trend lines more than interest lines because we want to get work.
Yeah.
So I can't solve the really what's next. I think when you decide, one, it shouldn't just be, oh my gosh, my certification is up for renewal. I need to get 20 hours right now. What's going to give me 20 hours for the least amount of money? That is just a waste of your time and effort. Like, why? That is so not professional. I know we were all victim of it at some point in time, but you should be intentional. Like, you've got a 2-year window with a certification, and continuing education by definition is continuing your base level education. It actually, like a school teacher, she has to get continuing education, and she knows she needs to do some that just continues to elevate her primary knowledge base, right? Reading, writing, arithmetic. And then she's going to go into specialty things to branch out what she knows. And that's the same thing in any profession. And it's something that we all need to do too. I need to set aside a certain amount of continuing education every single day. I'll come back to timing or cadence on it. Just, I don't want to get on that soapbox quite yet, but we need to set aside a certain percentage of our Con Ed that is just about being a better fitness professional. Anatomy, physiology, communication, relationships, nonverbal communication, business, marketing, presenting ourselves, whatever. You need to keep that base level education going that isn't format specific, but fitness industry specific. And if you're a manager, it needs to go, I don't know if it was this week or if next week that's being posted on Group X Pro, but it has to go beyond fitness if you're a fitness manager. Now you need to talk about business and the business of our industry and finances and all kinds of other stuff. Then you can start to explore. And I always say, like, take some things because you want to explore them and learn more to be knowledgeable about them and see if you like it. And double down on things where you know there are job opportunities, but triple down on things that you're super interested and passionate in, whether you see a path forward in monetizing it or not, because that's going to keep you interested in this industry. So I mean, there's not a clear answer to the question that you asked, but I don't like the thought of paper chasing. I think that's the biggest point I want to make. Just continuing to get certificates or certifications, because I mean, it's great to go horizontal to some degree, but at some point you have to go, boop, I need to go vertical as well. Coming back to the cadence thing, like, I know that every certification is in a 2-year cycle. It pains me as a group fitness manager to watch people run up right till that deadline. And it's what happened during COVID. All these people that were, like, honestly pissed off at some conferences and well, not conferences, but they were more pissed off at certifications that they weren't getting a pass because their conference they go to every 2 years to get all their CECs was canceled. And they thought that because of these extenuating circumstances, they should get a pass. I'm like, hold up. You missed the whole memo that continuing education is about continuing your education. You don't, what if you went to a doctor that waited?
That's so good.
That only read the journals when he could pay for the
when he had to.
When he had to. And I know, like, some people are probably listening going, well, we're not doctors. We want to be, again, I go back to the chicken and egg thing. Like, we want to be part of the healthcare continuum. Hey, ain't going to happen if 95% of us wait till the end of 2 years, or worse, don't even do the Con Ed and either fake it or stop being certified because someone else isn't looking over whether or not we're certified. So I digress. You should be doing informal Con Ed every single day. And informal Con Ed is like, the ACE Group Fit Facebook page that I run. It's an agnostic page that supports group fitness professionals that ACE sponsors, pays me to run, but it's not an ACE run thing, if that makes sense. That's a perfect example of informal Con Ed that takes you 5 minutes each morning to just tick the box. Oh, got on there, read the post. That's interesting. I either choose to follow it down the rabbit hole that it leads me, or I choose to exit because I don't have any more time today. It also serves up other opportunities. You can be on the web and you can find a weekend workshop you want to do, or a webinar that you want to take and do the CEC quiz, but you should I say informal, formal Con Ed. Formal Con Ed is you pay for it, you get the CECs, you send it into ACE, you can renew at the end of 2 years. Informal are the trade magazines, watching these webinars, going to people's classes, talking to people about class design, choreography exchanges. Like, you should be in that on a daily basis. Like, my morning starts with informal Con Ed, among a latitude of things, but it is a good 45 to 60 minutes every morning where I am putting myself in a personal development mode around it, specifically around this industry, but also tangentially. So again, I got on my soapbox. I apologize.
No, that's so good, because as a manager, I have annual reviews with my team, and constantly, part of that like annual review, the question is asked, what have you learned this year? What continuing education have you made? And majority of the time, they'll either write a training or a certification down that they had done that really didn't pertain to them, or that they really are interested in just because they were trying to get the CEC, or they ask me, what do you think I should do? Should I start teaching bar when they've been teaching, circuit training for so long? Like, no.
Right.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
So.
And I think you also, you alluded to, there are a lot of specialty certifications out there that are licensed models, right? Where you have to buy into a continuity plan to be able to utilize their resources. And again, I love it. I love all the resources that are out there. I was part of that first wave of body pump instructors way back 20 years ago when we were stuck on USA Body Pump Mix #1 for 18 months. And if I heard Tom Jones, She's a Lady, one more time teaching class, I might have ripped the cassette out of the cassette player because it was back in those days. So anyway, I digress. I remember the fight being about pre-choreography, and I was such an advocate because I'd been a freestyle instructor for a while, but I saw the value of giving people training wheels, and I saw the value for clubs of giving a product that was replicatable regardless of the person that was teaching it. It was so good for the consumer. Anyway, I love that there are more options, but just like I said with certifications, not that you have to be weary, but you need to be an intelligent consumer. And by that, I mean, how long has it been around? What does it mean to be qualified by that group? How much money are you on the hook for? What happens with that information when you can't use it anymore? Does the club also have to pay a license? Like, how opportunistic is it? Are you going to be able to get work doing it? And I hate to say this because I've been involved with some that were startups, but what's their record? Because I know a lot of people that, like, when Beachbody Live stopped, there were a lot of panic moments there, right? Like, oh my God, I've invested all this money. And they did a brilliant job of, allowing people to continue teaching the classes. But I just hold that up as an example of even a company so big that had to make a business decision to abandon this continuity business. They didn't abandon their live fitness business. I hope everyone understands that, because I know it was such a big, noisy argument. They didn't abandon fitness. They just, it's hard to have a continuity program and keep it going for a long time. It's very hard. It's not a good return on your investment in a lot of ways, right? Unless you can be a machine like a Les Mills that really figured out the system a long time ago. Anyway, I say all of that to, you also don't want, and I have a feeling a lot of people did this during COVID, like went to their credit card statements and went, oh my God, I had no idea. It's kind of like what I do with my fitness apps at the end of the month. And I'm like,
I added up.
That's like an Equinox membership. What am I doing? Which ones can I delete? I don't need them anymore. So I think we just have to be mindful about, what am I like you said, what am I gaining from this experience? Is it giving me something beyond just teaching me how to read the choreography and deliver it? So that I know that investment is going to be with me long term, even if I'm not teaching that format. And also know your rights. If a club is mandating, and probably some club people that are going to just kill me for saying this out loud, but if a club is mandating that you are certified by an organization, Les Mills, for example, they should be paying for your continuity, because it is your employment is contingent on having that qualification. Like, what can you do with that if I'm not saying that you can't do something with your Les Mills certification if you aren't teaching for them, but if it is a mandate by a club, you need to chat with them about how you can be compensated for that investment, because that's not fair. We shouldn't be holding all of the money or all of the risk, right? On behalf of these clubs. So advocate for yourself.
So true. So true. I wish and I hope more instructors will do that for sure in the future.
Yeah.
Definitely. And that really helped me. That was my last question really was, what are some important considerations to make when investing in those certifications? And I love that you brought up like Les Mills, because a good example would be the fact that we don't necessarily have their programming at our club, but as a manager, anytime I get an email about their webinars, I am on it. I am like, they're feeding education into the industry. And that's a sign to me of like ACE, like American Council Exercise, same thing, having a free resource on Facebook. That's a sign that that company is so concerned with the right things that it's really, I'm someone who's an example. Like, you have to show me your example and before I'm going to give you my money.
Yeah, I agree. And, I can list on one hand really great organizations that are doing the specialty certification good. And I can list on the other hand a bunch that are trying, but they're very small operations that don't have the same resources that a Les Mills does, right? And that's okay. I think it goes back to what you said, which is know what you're trying to do with your profession, right? Is this something you're trying to do long-term? And please don't ever call this a hobby. That maybe we could come back and talk about that for 30 minutes. This is not a hobby, whether you have one certification or not, whether you teach one day or not, whether you just sub. This is still a profession that a lot of people take very, very seriously, and B, the consumers that come to be a part of your product, what you deliver, they are taking it very seriously. So stop calling it a hobby. Okay. I don't know where I was going with that. Let me back up. Okay. So you have to know what you're trying to do with this profession, right? And if you are trying to make a full-time career out of it, you're going to have to be an aerobaho to some degree. Like, you're going to have multiple certifications and be multidisciplined so you can get more work. Now, I think there are some formats where you can get more work than others. Cycling, because there's usually a dedicated cycling studio that runs, well, not right now, pre-COVID, runs 3 to 5 classes per day. Every club has cycling. So cycling is one of those certifications that it's a good investment if that's your thing. But if you are a diehard step instructor that likes to dance to the music, don't just take cycling because you can get work. Like, know who you are as a performer and a professional, and go down that direction. I think that's the best. And then, like you said, look at what they've done for the industry, not just for people with their choreography, and what are their plans for expansion? Are they doubling down on their format? And I think I mentioned it earlier, like, I still think back fondly on my time, both being an instructor of Les Mills, but also being a trainer for Les Mills. What I found very valuable is, even if you decided, like, I don't teach body pump anymore, but the lessons I learned in that training and in the quarterly releases of body pump stay with me till this day, because they're universally necessary as a fitness professional. So it made me grow as a fitness professional, and then it honed me in on how to teach this one format. But it wasn't just about the barbell and how to squat properly. It was so much more than that. So, look for I guess it's like dual purposed is the best way to explain it. But yeah, look at it from that angle as well.
That is so perfect. So wise. I love it. So I would encourage everyone to definitely look at the Facebook page, the American Council on Exercise resource page, because it's, again, free. It's a great resource. Great people are involved in commenting and providing information and education. So I'm excited to have you guys jump on that. And then if you enjoyed today's video, subscribe to this channel. And I cannot wait. Even having Shannon reference, maybe next time we'll talk about this. I'm like, yeah, let's talk about whatever.
I'll talk about anything.
I could talk to you for hours. So I cannot wait to see you at all the virtual conferences this summer that we'll be experiencing.
We're presenting together or on the same track at DCAC. It's very exciting time.
Very exciting. So I appreciate, again, so much, Shannon, for your time. And I would say, for them to find you, is it shannonfable.com?
Yep. That is it. And then
Perfect.
on all social, I'm S Fable. And as Stacy mentioned, we'd love to have you guys over at the ACE Group Fit page. It's a private group, non-solicitation. You just have to answer a couple of questions and then I'll approve you. And we're about 6,000 strong from all over the world. And it truly is, we try very hard to protect it and ensure that nothing infiltrates or permeates the little buffer I put around it. You're not allowed to promote anything inside of there. We're just there to support you. So we'll see you over
So
there.
good. Thank you so much again, Shannon. We'll see you guys later.
Yeah. Thanks, Stacey.